Hello students, welcome you all once again to my video. Students, last time I was teaching you and I taught you a chapter from your English book Beehive, The Sound of Music Part 1, and it was about Evelyn Glennie and her achievements. Students, today once again I am going to read out the same chapter, The Sound of Music, but this is the another. Here we are going to read out another story of a person. Part 2, The Sehnai of Bismillah Khan. What is Sehnai? Sehnai is a musical instrument. See, this is Sehnai. This is another instrument called Pungi, which was replaced by Sehnai. But student, before moving to start the chapter, the Sehnai of Bismillah Khan, I would like to take you all for a small tour of music. Please pay attention. Listen it carefully. So students, did you hear the music? What did you think about it? Do you anything remember? Yes, generally we remember the weddings, because in our culture we have been many times with the same sound, because it is very popular in our North Indian weddings. Students, today we are going to read out about the same music called Sehnai. This is an instrument which was very popular, and even it is very popular now. And one more personalities we are going to read about. It is none other than Bismillah Khan. Bismillah Khan, who was he? Okay, so let's read out the chapter number 2, part 2, The Sehnai of Bismillah Khan. But before starting the story, just I would like to talk about some introduction. This chapter gives in brief the life story of the great musician Bismillah Khan. He is a Sehnai maestro. Actually, he is no more right now. It also tells us about the origin of the Sehnai. Bismillah Khan was one of the great personalities of Hindustani music. He belongs to the Banaras Gharana. He was born in Dumro in Bihar. His interest in music was visible from his childhood. As a Sehnai player, he was won national and international awards. He has traveled all over the world. He has also been awarded the nation's highest award, Bharat Ratna. Bismillah Khan thinks that music can bridge the gap between different communities. So he wants that music should be made a compulsory subject in schools. Student, today we are going to read out about a personality of our country, India, Ustad Bismillah Khan. He was very popular because of his Sehnai playing. So let's start the story line wise, and I will give you the summary of it. Means, say, the Sehnai of Bismillah Khan. Before you read, see your book, page number 21. Do you know these people? That what instruments do they play? See, In the first page, you can see some photos are there. They are the great personalities of our country and they play various type of musical instruments. Think of the Sehnai and the first thing you will probably imagine is a wedding or a similar occasion or function. The next would probably be Ustad Bismillah Khan, the Sehnai maestro, playing this instrument. See, para number 1. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Pungi became the generic name for reeded noisemaker. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi. See, students, in the first para we come to know it was about a long years back, the time of Mughals, the time of Mughal and Mughal emperors. Who was that time? The Mughal emperor Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb, in his court, he banned the sound of pungi. Pungi was another kind of musical instrument. See, students, I have made the picture of pungi on the board. See, pungi. So this is the image of pungi. Now it is not used because this one is replaced by Sehnai. How? Let's move to know. So Emperor Aurangzeb banned the sound of pungi because it was very unpleasant sound that King Emperor did not like. Okay, but one person, he was a barber. He was a barber. Barber means nai. The people who cuts here, they are called barber. So a barber of that time, and he was a professional musician. Okay, the barber was a professional musician. He was not cutting the hair in the court, but he was playing musics. Okay, musical instruments. So a barber from a professional music family, he decided to improve. The barber decided to improve the sound of pungi. So what he did, he found a long. Okay, see the line. He decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi, and he made 7 holes. He made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. He played the instrument before royalty and everyone was impressed. The instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. As the story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chambers and was played by a nai, barber, the instrument was named the Sehnai. So, pungi became Sehnai by the help of that skilled barber. He was very skilled. Okay, the barber changed the full look of the instrument and pungi became Sehnai. And how did it get the name? How? Because it was first played in the royal court, in the Shah's family. Shah means royal. In the royal's family, in the Shah family. So the first word taken from the word Shah, and it was played by a barber. Barber. In Hindi it is called nai. So Shah's family, in a Shah's family, played by a barber. So Sahnai. So that became Sahnai. Sahnai. So Sahnai, the first word Sah, that came from the royal family, and Nai, that means barber. So Sahnai. In this way, this instrument got its new name. The sound of the Sahnai became to be considered auspicious. The sound was so melodious that people considered it means very good. Okay, good fortune. That it brings the good fortune. And for this reason, it is still played in temples and in an indispensable component of many in any North Indian wedding. It is considered so auspicious that it is generally played in temples at the time of worshipping to God as well as in the weddings. Okay, in weddings we many times have been with the same similar sound. In the past, the Sahnai was part of the Naubert or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. At first, when it was made up, it was used to play in temples and weddings. But a personality of our country named Ustad Bismillah Khan. Ustad Bismillah Khan was such a personality who brought this instrument in view of everyone's. Means brought this instrument in a prominent position that everyone can notice it. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient state of Dumro in Bihar. He was born in Bihar. And what was the place? Dumro. So, when he was very young age, he used to play Gilli Danda. Gilli Danda is a game generally played in our country, India, by very small boys. Okay. So, he would regularly go to the nearby Biharji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. It happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has traveled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. When he was very young, he used to go to the temple nearby. Okay, and it was in Bihar. Okay, and what he used to do? He used to listen the music played in the temple. See, he was a Muslim person. Okay, but see the culture of our country. The Muslim person used to go to the temple. So what it gives? It gives the idea of what? Unity. Okay, so we must not think about our separations. So being a Muslim boy, he used to go to the temple, and not only his ancient family members also used to play Sahnais in various temples and weddings in Indian functions. Students, so a small boy used to go to the temple for listening the music. Okay, and he was the part of that. Okay, and after ending, what he got? He used to get a big size of laddu, more than 1 kg. Okay, 1.25 kg laddu he used to get every evening. It was his prize. So see, the small boy who used to take the laddu from the temple, after many years, he became a personality of Bharat Ratna Award. So it was a big journey. Born on 21st March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. He was born in 21st March 1916. Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. Bismillah Khan, Ustad Bismillah Khan was from a family, and many of them in his family, many of them already were the musicians. So he learned from very young age. That's why his grandfather Roshal Baks Khan was the Sehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur king's court. His grandfather was a Sehnai Nawaz, where in a Bhojpur king's court. His father Paigambar Baks. Who was his father? Who was his father? His father was Paigambar Baks, and other parental ancestors were also great Sehnai players. As I already told you that his ancestors were good Sehnai players. The young boy took to music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now it is Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Sehnai. So what we come to know, he used to go to his maternal house with his mother, and there what he saw? He saw his uncle's practice. Means his uncle also was a Sehnai player. His uncle, Bismillah Khan's uncle, Ali Baks, was a Sehnai player. So he was fascinated seeing the way that his uncle, Ali Baks, used to play, practice. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his Ali Baks accompanies his uncle Ali Baks to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, where Baks was employed to play the Sehnai. So in a very young age, what Ustad Bismillah Khan used to do? He used to go with his uncle Bismillah Khan to the temples. For what purpose? His uncle Ali Baks was an employee of the temple to play Sehnai. So from a very young age, he used to accompany with his uncle Ali Baks, and means he started learning from there actually. Okay, means Ustad Bismillah Khan started learning from his uncle, okay, Ali Baks. Ali Baks would play the Sehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he could practice in solitude. The flowing waters of Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Sehnai. So what we come to know in para 5, here we come to know that in a very young age he used to go to his maternal house, Ali Baks. His maternal uncle's name was Ali Baks, and he was employed to the temple for playing Sehnai every day. So he used to go along with his uncle Ali Baks to the temple, and from there he started learning the lessons of Sehnai. And what was the good thing? He lived in Banaras beside river Ganga, and there he started practicing. Means throughout the day he used to sit beside river Ganga, and in a very comfortable weather, because we know Banaras is such a nice place. Okay, solitude place, means a lonely. Okay, he lonely used to sit there and started his practicing. Okay, started his practice throughout the day long. Okay, so in this way he started his practice. So students, in today's lesson what we come to know, that Ustad Bismillah Khan and up to para 5 we have completed up to para 5. So in my next video I will try to complete the rest of the paras, and in this way I will complete the chapter. Okay, So, students, you have to read out up to para 5 and try to understand. Okay? Thank you very much. Bye.